trail that unfortunately we had to cut short due to the COVID-19 pandemic. So we just still want to stay in touch with our children and reach out to them. And this is probably the most appropriate means of doing that for now. So welcome to everybody. Thanks for joining us. This program will take place weekly, Thursdays at 10:30 in the morning. Call dependent, obviously. Emergencies always come first, and so you may hear some noise in the background. That's just the guys and gals handling the calls as they come in. So what we'll do Thursdays at 10:30, we'll start off with reading a book. That'll vary each week, and then we'll have a short question and answer session at the end. You can certainly listen in through, ask your questions through the comments, and it's good to see some people watching us here. So if we do have a call, we will try to reschedule and or postpone it until the following week. The goal is to hopefully carry this on even when life returns to the new normal, and get back to what we used to call how we lived our lives. But the goal for this is then maybe to carry it over to like a bedtime story or something like that on a Tuesday or Wednesday night around 7 or 8 o'clock. We'll just have to see how things go. But first off, today we're going to read Big Frank's Fire Truck. We thank Pierce Helmuth for bringing us this book. He's the son of one of our fire lieutenants here. So it's 9 o'clock on Monday morning. Big Frank is just getting to work. Big Frank is a firefighter. He works a 24-hour shift. That means he will be on duty all day and night. So you can see Big Frank here. He's going to work. He works much like many fire departments do around here, and we do in Salisbury. We work a 24-hour shift. So we bring our stuff to stay the night with what we call our second family. This is the firehouse. This is where Big Frank lives, sleeps, and eats while he is at work. Big Frank checks in and goes over his schedule. At 11 o'clock, he will make a fire inspection at the supermarket. At 2 o'clock, he will visit the elementary school and talk about fire safety. Big Frank has to be prepared for all kinds of emergencies too, and who knows what's going to happen during his shift. So you can see some of the pictures here. You can see a picture of the ladder truck, the ambulance there, brush truck, and the pumper, and some of the rooms in the firehouse across the top. So the fire chief asks Big Frank to fuel up the fire trucks. Big Frank heads for the garage. Big Frank's company has 3 fire trucks. The hook and ladder is used for aerial rescues. The brush breaker has 4-wheel drive and can go anywhere that it wants to, even where there are no roads. Big Frank drives the pumper engine. The pumper holds water. Their pumper holds 1,000 gallons of water. So you can see the ladder truck, the brush truck, and the engine there, and Big Frank's driving. After he takes care of the engines, Big Frank checks his gear. He wears a helmet to protect his head, a fireproof coat and pants to protect his body, and sturdy boots to protect his feet. He has a wooden wedge for propping open doors, and an oxygen pack and air mask in case the fires are very smoky. Big Frank hangs his equipment next to the pumper engine. Now he is ready for anything. Big Frank sits down with his partner Mike for a cup of coffee. Just then the fire bell rings. At the same time, the lights in the front of the station start flashing and the computer starts printing. Accident at the intersection of Main Street and Laurel Road. Car on fire. So you see Big Frank getting his gear, checking his gear. And then over here we see the chief coming in, and they're sitting around having coffee, and then the alarm comes in. So it sounds like we've got a pretty serious accident here that we're going to go to. Mike, Janet, and Gary jump in the pumper with Big Frank. Big Frank turns on the siren and heads out of the station. Woo-woo! The fire truck roars down Main Street with the siren going full blast. Cars pull over when they hear the noise, and a policeman waves the big engine right through a red light. The firefighters arrive at the scene of the accident in less than 4 minutes. That's a great response time. We always wish we could get to you that fast. The first thing Big Frank does is check to see if anyone is hurt. He is glad that he has his paramedic training. One lady has a bad cut on her head. Big Frank bandages the cut, and Mike radios for an ambulance. Meanwhile, Gary and Janet spray the burning car with a special foam made for gasoline fires. The flames go out, and a tow truck comes to haul the wrecked car away. So here we see Big Frank. He's helping the lady who has a cut on her head. Looks like some other family there, and the rest of his crew is putting the fire out. Big Frank returns to the station with the others and fills out his report. He looks at his watch. It's nearly 11 o'clock. He drives over to the quick shop to make his inspection. Big Frank inspects the store's sprinkler system to make sure it is working properly. He checks the emergency doors to see if they will open in case of a fire. He also runs a test of the alarm system. The supermarket has a smoke alarm that rings right in the fire station. Everything looks okay. Then back at the firehouse, Big Frank eats his lunch with the other firefighters and takes a short nap in his bunk. So here we see Big Frank doing his inspections. The fire department, we do inspections like that. We actually have a fire inspector and a fire marshal's division, as well as the operations guys and gals go out and do pre-plans as well of buildings. And then over here we see him eating lunch. At 2 o'clock, Big Frank and Mike drive the pumper engine over to Niceview Elementary School. Big Frank and Mike talk to the second grade class about fire safety. Mike tells them that the smoke detectors are very important. He shows them how to check their smoke detectors at home. Big Frank teaches the class what to do in case of a house fire. He tells them to stay low so they won't breathe too much smoke, and then he shows them how to stop, drop, and roll. So here we see, this is Mike, and he's showing the guys and the children how the smoke alarm works, and then Big Frank is doing the stop, drop, and roll. So the Salisbury Fire Department has a second grade program as well. We come around in October in Fire Prevention Month and do something very similar to this program. So you may or may not have seen us when we pay your schools a visit. On the way back to the station, a call comes in over the radio. Brush fire at Dairy Hill. Big Frank turns the pumper around and heads for Dairy Hill. He and Mike will meet the rest of the company there. Big Frank is worried that there hasn't been any rain for a long time and the wind is blowing. This could be a bad fire. So the wind will blow more oxygen to the fire, so it will make the fire larger. So Big Frank's a little worried that he might need a little bit more help. Big Frank and Mike reach the fire a little after 4 o'clock. They go right to work. They spray water around the edges of the blaze to keep it from spreading. The wind blows and sparks fly through the air. When the rest of the company arrives, the fire chief tells Janet and Gary to hose down the roofs of the nearby houses. That will help keep the sparks from setting the houses on fire. So here we see the engine at work. The ladder truck's there in the background. They've got their hose flowing their water, and the fire chief is in command. At nightfall, the winds pick up speed. Suddenly, the fire goes out of control and races towards the forest. This fire is too big for one company to handle alone. Big Frank radios for help. 2 more companies are on their way. So we see the brush truck here with the guys fighting fire, and we see Big Frank calling for more help. So we're no different than Big Frank. We sometimes have to call on our outlying fire departments, Hebron, Fruitland, Parsonsburg, Delmar, sometimes even farther away than that. So we all help each other out. Big Frank knows all the firefighters in the other companies. He has worked with them many times. Together they make a good team. By midnight, they have saved the nearby houses from catching fire. They have headed off the blaze to the north, south, and east, but the fire is still spreading west through the trees. Even the brush breakers can't keep up. Big Frank calls in a squad of special firefighting helicopters. Soon they are whirling overhead. So they've even had to call in helicopters to help. You see this a lot out west, out in California, with the large forest fires that they have out there and wildfires. The firefighters battle the blaze from the ground. The helicopters drop chemicals from the air. Finally, after 14 hours, the fire begins to die out. The worst is over. Big Frank is tired. No wonder. It is nearly 6 o'clock in the morning. As soon as the next shift of firefighters arrives, Big Frank and his company are heading back to the firehouse. So you can see that, and you see some of the help. And the special wildland firefighters, they wear a little bit different gear than what you may be accustomed to seeing around here. Back at the station, Big Frank helps wash down the fire trucks. They are sooty from the fire. Big Frank is dirty too. He has ashes all over him, even in his hair. Big Frank jumps in the shower, then puts on clean clothes and eats a big breakfast. It's 9 o'clock on Tuesday morning. Big Frank's shift is over. Big Frank waves goodbye to the other firefighters. He can't wait to go home. He can't wait to hug Amber and little Frank. So we see him making sure his rig's clean for the crew that's coming on. And then we see them over here. Frank's leaving to go home to his family. Big Frank will have 2 days off to spend with his family. Then he'll start another shift, fighting fires and helping everyone's family stay safe and sound. So this is the most rewarding part of the job, is going home to our families, our wives, husbands, and kitties. So that's the end of the story. Thank you. I'm going to scroll through some comments here and see if we have any questions or anything here. Looks like Megan, we're glad that your 2-year-old loves this. Awesome. And you are welcome. So if anybody has any questions, you can certainly ask them right now. Basically, we're looking forward to doing this every Thursday, getting out there. Sylvia, you're welcome. This is something that we're very proud to bring to you, and hopefully something that we can continue doing into the future. Camden asks, are you scared? Camden, no, we're not scared. There's always a sense of danger in this job, but we've got a lot of well-trained people here in the Salisbury Fire Department, and we hold on one second here, come back to you, and we have each other's backs, just like in the book with Big Frank. Even our outlying departments, they come and help us, and we work well together. And so no, we're not scared. We go through a lot of training, hundreds and hundreds of hours of training, so that we can serve you. Mike, you're welcome. Kelsey asked, what was this all about? Basically, Kelsey, this is a new program that we're starting here, and it's called Fired Up to Read. It takes the place of our Blazing a Trail program that we had originally started back in January, where we would go to the schools and read to the children, and then they would read at home. This is just an extension of that program for us to be able to stay in contact with the community and talk to our kids that we enjoy so much. So it'll be happening Thursdays at 10:30, unless there's some emergency calls or something that we can't do, or that we have to go handle, and we'll try to reschedule and make sure this happens. Looks like we've got a lot of children at the Crown Early Learning Center. The children loved it. Thank you. Thank you for tuning in. Let's see. If anybody have any other questions? A lot of good comments, a lot of positive likes that I see here. I'm just trying to make sure I didn't miss anybody. So if that's it, we will wrap this up. Keep in touch via Instagram and Facebook. Like us, follow us, and tune in next Thursday, 10:30. Obviously, unless a call comes in. Now, it looks like we've got a call here. Jake wants to know how many engines and ladders you have. So Jake, we've got, let's see, there's 2 engines at Station 16. There's 1 engine at Station 2, 1 engine at Station 1. There's an engine tanker, which has a lot of water on it, like Big Frank's truck that's at Station 16. We have a tower at 16, and we have 2 ladder trucks at Station 1 and Station 2. So quite a few. And we also have 6 total ambulances. There's 2 at each firehouse for that, along with the rescue truck at Station 16. So that looks like that's it. Again, Thursdays at 10:30. Tune in. We'll try to get this up so those that missed it or weren't aware of it will be able to watch it. And we'll see you next Thursday at 10:30. Thanks a lot and stay safe.